Welcome to the Notorious D.I.D. I am Lola. I am the origin, or the host as you may call it. Am I positive of that? I'm pretty positive. What I would like to cover today is the burden of responsibility. When you are abused, the mental state that you hold changes. You feel in some way responsible. It must have been something I did. It must be me. I must be horrible. Maybe I deserved it. Especially if you were young when this took place, and with childhood trauma, I'm speaking only for ourselves, but I'm sure this does take place for a lot of people. When you are in a severely abusive situation, when you're young, you tend to be drawn back into that. It's almost a cycle. You, whether you want to or not, tend to draw yourself back toward people who are abusive. And it's an ongoing situation until you can break that cycle. The way that we broke that cycle is we stopped associating with people. We felt we couldn't trust ourselves to not be in that cycle, to not be drawn toward abusive people for relationships, friendships, and that's where we stand right now. We hold a lot of guilt because we do feel responsible for everything that happened to us. So with this, we are punishing ourselves. Or maybe I'm punishing us. Maybe something inside us is punishing us because we were punished for so long. Maybe we feel that's the only way it's supposed to be. That we need to be punished. That we're guilty of some unknown thing that created monsters in other people. If we dive in deep, we realize people that do those things, they're the monsters. But mentally, something inside us makes us feel we must be a monster for others to want to destroy us. This may be something that's very difficult for other people to hear, so I understand if you didn't finish the video or if you don't want to finish the video, because it's a fact within us that we've come to realize, and there's probably a lot of other people that have come to realize that as well. Self-harm can take many different forms. Some people, it's an outward form where they cut themselves or sustain themselves with alcohol or drugs to hide away from the situations, to run away. Self-harm within us has taken different forms. When we were younger and trying to understand things, it took the form of hitting ourselves. because everybody else was hitting us. Not everybody, but to us it might as well have been everybody. When there's somebody who's so violent towards you, the whole world is in your mind when you're young and maybe when you're older. So when things got super stressful, we would just hit ourselves. It had to be us. We deserved it. That's what we deserved, right? Somebody else was physically abusing us severely, so it must have been us. Why else would they do something like that? Especially as somebody who's supposedly a parent, or supposed to be a parent that protects you, and they're not doing that. They're the ones who are victimizing you. Are they the only person who caused us harm? No. But they were the majority of it. Self-harm now that we've gotten older. Several years ago, we were in a bad relationship because, as I stated, we tend to be drawn toward abusers because of our past, I'm guessing. So, within that perimeter, we were in a bad relationship, and rather than hurt that person severely, which is where we felt it was going to go, at one point we bashed our head into a car just to try and stop everything. We ended up in a mental facility by our own choosing to try and save ourselves and save everybody else around us for what was going on. When we came out, we haven't done anything like that. But then we weren't in that relationship for much longer, and we have not went into another relationship either. Outside of that, with realizing that the seizures that are physically taking a toll on us, and the fact that they are generated mentally, it is my conclusion that we are facilitating the seizures, whether you want to call it a psychogenic blackout, whether you want to call it a dissociative shutdown, non-epileptic seizure, no matter what, it's psychogenetic. It's generated from the mind, and that means our mind is shutting us down because it can no longer deal with any type of stress. I have concluded that in a breakthrough of thought, this is because we are still persecuting ourselves. We still find ourselves guilty, and we feel that we deserve to be punished because we are no longer physically punishing ourselves. It's possible that we are now mentally punishing ourselves still by shutting our system down and creating nothing but havoc financially, and with not being able to do anything properly. This may be a harsh realization, but I am hoping with it being a realization that we find a way, whether through spiritual guidance, Reiki, or some form of release. I would like us to reach an understanding that it is not our fault, and that we shouldn't be punished, and that it needs to stop. Thank you for coming to listen to me. I've been Lola for the notorious D.I.D.